What's up, everybody? Destin Legary here, and I have filled up the PlayStation 4's hard drive. Here's some proof. There may not be enough free space on the system storage to download and install the content in your cart. With me is Scott Lowe.
Hello.
Scott, so one thing I want to point out is right now it says we need 17.4 gigabytes of free space required to install this. Now, what's interesting is that game is a 33.9 gigabyte download and install.
That's a lot of gigs.
It is a lot of gigs. And if we hop into system management, it says we have 17 free. Using the power of math, which I'm not very good at, it's off by about 1 point something gigs.
I'm totally relying on you for this because my math skills are terrible.
But it is very accurate. Here we see the PlayStation 4 tells us we have 407 gigabytes total.
Yeah.
And we have used most of it. We have 17 gigs free.
Now, it's important to note that that's like drastically less than the kind of known 500 gig drive that's in the system. So you already lose quite a bit just by unknown specified content. Yeah,
definitely. One thing about the PlayStation 4 that should be pointed out is you can upgrade the internal hard drive. So if you need a bigger hard drive, if you don't have enough space, that is an option for you. We actually have a video that you took part in showing people how to do that.
It's very, very simple. The important thing to notice is always if you encounter a situation like this where you've hit the cap of what you can put on the 500 gig drive, you have to, there's no, currently at this point, if you're watching this video later, obviously it might be a different scenario, but at present, shortly after launch, there is no way to manually transfer data from one drive to another. You have to restore it all through the cloud. So you have to download your games again, or in the case of disk-based games, reinstall them.
That is correct. And actually, some of the biggest games are NBA 2K14 and Killzone Shadowfall. NBA 2K14 is the largest at 46 gigs, and Killzone Shadowfall is 39.
See, I wouldn't have thought a game like NBA 2K would be a huge space hog, but I guess
it is gigantic.
A lot of character data there, I guess.
So actually, the total amount of games we have installed is 27 on this unit.
Wow.
We tried to install 28, which was a larger game, a 33.9 gig game versus a, smaller title.
Right. So this is pretty much everything you can get for the PlayStation.
This is literally every PlayStation game available. We even have we even have like Tryon on here and Doki Doki Universe. So a bunch of the editors came and just installed their game, and then we're in my profile right now. It still utilizes that information. We do have a few gameplay captures. They're about a minute, but those gameplay captures are so small in size they don't dramatically impact the overall storage capacity. So as you can see, captures. So that's about 1 gig, and I have captured a lot of content, especially with Blacklight Retribution. I think I left it on for 15 minutes, and I have a whole bunch of little captures there of that game. So gameplay capture doesn't really do very much. Now, the largest apps, which we also have every app installed, are Netflix and Amazon Instant. Those clock in at about 1 gig each to download.
Yeah.
And the total number of apps installed is 11.
Because that's pretty much all you can get, at least in North America.
Yeah, and every app is incredibly tiny. There's a few games that are actually less than 10 gigs, and they show up as megabytes in the system. But it's like Warframe and Lego Marvel Superheroes. Lego Marvel Superheroes is a disc-based game, actually, and it's only 6.4 about gigs.
And that's not even that much larger than last-gen titles.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, with a game like Marvel, where it's kind of cross-platform and it's Lego, you would imagine that's actually not too surprising.
One thing should be pointed out about, so I'm going to hop into the game so people have something to watch besides numbers. One thing that should be pointed out is that, yes, you can upgrade the internal drive on the PlayStation 4.
Correct.
But Sony has not announced any support for external hard drives at any time.
Yeah, I mean, it seems likely because they have these USB 3.0 ports, which they sprung to invest in, as opposed to USB 2.0, which obviously has uses beyond simple storage. But the big deal with USB 3.0 is the higher throughput of data, so you can transfer, you can access and copy data more quickly. So it would seem like it's prime for external storage. So you could add like a desktop or a laptop external hard drive and just plug it right in and just have that be your auxiliary. But again, nothing's been announced, so it seems likely, but not really confirmed.
Yeah, I mean, Sony's like, we haven't announced that yet, but a few things they did say involved how much space do you have to install games and apps on the PS4 with its current 500 gigabytes model. They didn't give a definite answer, but they did say a portion of the hard disk capacity is reserved for use in connection with system administration, maintenance, and additional options. As a result, the availability of hard disk capacity may vary. Wow, I got through that sentence. Yeah. So that's kind of interesting, that they're just saying, we need to use that for the OS and, for the gameplay captures, etc. And another question we reached out to Sony and asked was, if we fill up the hard drive, what do we do? And they said, all your content's linked to your account, so if you've downloaded or anything, you can re-download that at any time. And then you can delete a game capture application by going to Settings, System, Storage Management, which we did earlier.
I mean, realistically, when you're talking about 27 games, like how many of those are you actively playing on a regular basis? I mean, it's. I'm not trying to make excuses for any kind of limitation of capacity, but honestly, in a realistic environment, like at least me personally, I play maybe a combination of 5 different games at one time. Especially when you're talking about like disc-based games where it's really a really short install based on the disk, which you have to use anyways. I think it's really not too challenging to manage your data, at least with the stock hard drive, but obviously upgrading definitely gives you a bit of longevity that some particularly passionate players might want to consider.
Yeah, but pretty much that is everything we wanted to talk about with the hard drive space and a little bit of contrast gameplay. I've never played that game, as you can see by the trophy I got live. So here's all the updates and everything, and we have filled up the PlayStation 4's hard drive completely on this unit. Scott, thank you for joining me on this commentary. I appreciate it. And for all your PlayStation 4 needs, you know where to keep it locked. IGN.